Welcome to Wealth, Wicks, and Wine. This is a podcast where we have candlelit conversations about building wealth, business, and other financial matters. We have fun on here, y'all, right? So that's why we do this on Wine Down Wednesday. I'm your hostess. My name is Shawn. And today we're going to have so much fun. So today's theme is all about resilience in business. And we, of course, cannot start a podcast, right, without introducing our wine of the evening. And by the way, Miss Tonda, cheers.
Cheers to you too. I got cheers on here.
And being on here with me. But tonight, I am sipping on a Pinot Noir sparkler from Wines for Humanity. And my favorite part about this, right? So I've learned to appreciate all wines, sweet, dry, semis, because I finally learned how to pair wine with the right food. So tonight's wine is a Pinot Noir. It's a light red. And it kind of has aroma like raspberry and strawberry. It's zesty. It is refreshing, which is something I love. I don't like heavy wine. And it pairs well with salmon, sushi, or a summer salad. So that's pretty awesome. Right. The candle of the day, because this is Wealth, Wicks, and Wine, right? So that whole concept is about building wealth, right? We have a candle business, my family and I. And then we also sell wine through Wines for Humanity. So my son made this candle. Nice. He went ahead and took over one of our brands, which is quiescent moments, meaning rest and relaxation. And the name of this candle here is Black Sea. Marquise makes them out of coconut and soy wax, so all natural, along with fragrance. And some of his candles actually have clear quartz crystals at the bottom of them. So shout out to my son Marquise on that. So that's our candle of the day. And then we cannot get started either without a business and or financial tip, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. Today is all about staying the course with business, right? So do not ever allow what you see on the news, because we have some orange people that's running rampant all over the place, but I'm not going to name any name. But yes, so do not allow current events, worldwide news, any of the foolishness to distract you from pursuing your goals and dreams in career, business, and finance. You know something? I know we get sick and tired of hearing this too shall pass, but we are going to have to think about that and be strong and stand against the foolishness that's going on. So hey, right? So keep going, pursue your passion, keep going in your business. They can talk about cutting all the funding that they want. If they cut funding, you go harder. That means that you need to find some sales skills, right? Sales, marketing, all of that, figure it out. Right. We shouldn't be looking for grants anyway. Good old telephone and a cold call list if you're really that serious about your business. All right, so getting right in. So listen, I'm excited to introduce Miss Tonda Thompson. So I want to share with you her entrepreneurship journey. Tonda founded She Slangs Wood during the pandemic to empower individuals through self-sufficiency and confidence in woodworking. This is a woman, y'all, that's doing woodworking. And listen, though we're talking about She Slangs Wood, that's not the only business that she owns. She has Valor Creative Collective, which is right over on Burleigh. I'm going to let her share all of that and what that's all about. She has Vogue Dreams, because look at this beautiful lady. She's a model. Right? And I've seen the work. She Vogue and all that pretty stuff. Look, beautiful. Now, have you seen a model slang wood? Listen, and these magazine companies need to get on it and pay you, because that's a good concept right there. She does advocacy work, so she has gained national recognition for her efforts in addressing infant mortality rates in the Black community and highlighting critical social issues. So I know Tonda is all up and through what's going on in the world and in our nation, because she stays connected like that. Diverse skills, she is multi-talented. We just recently had an event blueprint business and succession planning. So at home for us, she was helping repairs, fence work, did a great job on the front and back. You right. And then I'm like, Tonda, we don't have anybody to do photos or videography for our event for something else. She like, I got you. Yeah, so I've seen her really literally slang wood and by herself, because sometimes when we're in business and the staff don't show up, we have to always show up. And Tonda's, hey, sometimes she was out there digging holes, and I witnessed it myself by herself, and it was cold. So she works. And then she get a camera out, have an event, and you'll see what I'm saying. All right, so diverse, diverse skills, multi-talented carpenter, teacher, educator, trainer. So she teaches others to do exactly what she does. She's not a gatekeeper. You know, we have enough of that going on in our communities, right?
Absolutely.
Man, do this, how do you do that? And then they hide and hoard information. That's not how you get blessed. Tonda trains in everything that she knows how to do. Teaches young students how to be carpenters, teaches them photography, videography, modeling. She teaches all the skills she's acquired. She teaches even the life skills and mentorship. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to say welcome, 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 Tonda. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you, Shawntell, for having me on this podcast. So I don't hop on a lot of podcasts, but I made sure I was on this one. I get asked to do podcasts all the time. I'm very selective of what I support, but I definitely support you, and I thank you for all of the help that you've done for me over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Tonda. And it's been a pleasure meeting and knowing you over several years. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey as an entrepreneur.
So it's a long story. You always got to take a deep breath when I tell my full story. If I told my full story, we'd be here all night. But I always try to tell it in a nutshell. My name is Tonda Thompson. If many people know me, in the early 2000s, I started off as a runway model and a fashion model here in the city of Milwaukee. I was well known. I'm still well known. I was known for promoting clubs. I was a Nouveau girl, and I got to become somewhat of an ambassador for Nouveau and Ciroc. So I worked closely with different groups that partner. I'm not gonna say the names because it's popular, but the names that are familiar with Ciroc, we work closely with them in the city of Milwaukee to make sure that Nouveau was distributed properly in the clubs. So I started off as that. I was back and forth between LA and New York, and as well as Atlanta. I did a lot of work where I would shoot with world-renowned photographers across the nation. I was in magazines. I was in real magazines. I was in Premier Bride doing all the cool stuff. So I was doing a lot of that work, and it really took off. I was in and out of LA so much that I'm like, okay, I need to move here. So I eventually moved to LA. I started doing runway modeling out there. I was friends with celebrities like Shamar Moore. I was at their house all the time. I was partying in Bel Air and all that cool stuff, doing all the cool stuff that you do in LA with celebrities. But the thing is, I had connections back in Milwaukee. I had a boyfriend back home, so I kept coming back home. uh, so one day I woke up and I took a pregnancy test, and I found out that I was pregnant with my first son, Terrell.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the choice at the time because I had just auditioned for one of the biggest modeling agencies out in LA, and I didn't hear from them for 2 months. So I was on the fence. I'm like, what do I do? Like, it was people telling me like, you should, have an abortion, stay out in LA and do this or whatever, follow your dreams. But I was like, nah, I'm not hearing back from them. I'm just going to go back home to Milwaukee, had a baby. And I always have to tell this story because when I decided to move home, when I got off the plane, literally when I got off the plane, I found out that they had called me while I was on the plane, and the modeling agency had accepted me as a exclusive model. So it would have been me, Eva Marcel, that you know, you all know who Eva Marcel is. We would have had the same agent at the same time. So we would have been pretty much starting our careers at the same time. Even though she did the America's Next Top Model, we would have been at the
Okay.
same time with the same agent, you know? Uh,
Yes.
so basically, I got on the plane. They was like, "You been accepted," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm here in Milwaukee."
Oh my God.
so I got home. I decided like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be a wife and a mom. Um, 9 months later, you know, if you know my story, the tragedy happened where my son was born, and due to negligence, he died at the hospital he was born in. And that caused such a you know it was such a disarray to my whole family where it destroyed my family.
Mm-hmm.
um I was married. I ended up getting married. I got divorced, had lost the baby all in 1 year in 2013. But you know, it's a sad story, but it it made me become who I am today, if that makes sense.
Yes.
um so I started Bold Dreams literally in that same summer when I lost the baby. I got a divorce, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Bold Dreams was birthed. That was my first business. Literally during the time I was literally a month after I lost my son, I picked up a camera and I started coaching young kids to be models because I'm like, look, I gave up my modeling career. I want to
Mm-hmm.
teach young kids how to not give up on your dreams. Um,
Yes.
so I started teaching young kids how to get in the modeling industry the right way. But that ended up taking me into another department where I met people like Alderwoman Malele Cox. I met at the time she was Senator Taylor. Now she's
Mm-hmm.
Judge Taylor. I
Mm-hmm.
met these women like Alderman Mike McGee. I met him. I met Truman McGee. All of these people gave me these opportunities to be their photographer. So it was like I became a political photographer at the time, as well as a model coach. So my photography opened up the door for so much more, and I became an activist in pertaining to infant mortality here in the city. I work
Okay.
with organizations like United Way and Public Allies. So it's a long story. I started the Harambe 5K in order of my son. I was doing that, blah blah blah. You know, not to say blah blah blah, but I was doing so much in the work of my son. When
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic of 2020 happened, I was tired. I said, I don't want to do none of this anymore. I'm gonna start building. I just started building tables in my basement, and literally my hobby became the biggest business that I have today. So,
Okay.
in a nutshell, She Slangs Wood took off. If you read my story, you can go back and see everything. But She Slangs Wood took off so much to where I had to buy a building,
Yep.
and now I bought a building on First and Burleigh, which has become Valley Creative Collective. I learned how to put all of the businesses together to eliminate social determinants of health in our city by teaching young Black kids how to have skills and how to be confident in anything that they do. So I wrapped it all up with a bow and figured out how to make it all work together. And that's why I'm a serial entrepreneur, because of all the things I did in honor of my son Terrell and my son Jelani, who's now 7 years old, about to be 8. Um,
Yes.
so that's why I'm a serial entrepreneur. It really started from me being in a desperate place of needing refuge,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to find a solution for a problem that was personal to me,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that a lot of people that was fighting that cause, they didn't have a personal fight for it. It was just checking the dots.
Yep.
So I became what I wanted to see, and I'm trying to
Yes.
help others become that too.
Awesome. And I have seen her work firsthand, and she does extremely, extremely well against all odds and different deterrences that came her way to try to get her off guard and off focus. And it doesn't work, right? And so, Tonda, we're talking about resilience today. And so, my next question is more on the lines of any more projects or collaborations that you have coming up soon. Now I know we don't get all of the tea, because some things we gotta own. And until we launch it, I know I'm a businesswoman too. We can't put it all out there. But what should we look for that's coming up next with any of your businesses or projects?
Well, Valor is a real estate arm. Valor purchases the properties that helps create safe spaces for young Black people to be successful and to learn skills and to thrive and to enjoy themselves, pretty much, right?
Mhm.
So Valor buys a space. She Slangs Wood is now, as you mentioned, I dealt with some issues of resilience where I had to be. I started off as just the cute carpenter, right, building tables, but it's
Yeah.
like, no, I have to build my own stuff because there's some crazy people out there, right? So
That.
I taught myself how to build my own structures.
Mhm.
I learned it. I had to become a real construction carpenter, and now I'm a general contractor. So Valor buys, She Slangs Wood builds. My company, Voldrings Production, is the media company. We tell the story.
Okay.
So all of those companies are working together. We're building, we're purchasing, we're telling the story. So I bought the building on First and Burleigh. That is not the only building that's going to be owned by Valor.
Okay.
There are a couple other properties in the work that we have to where I'm building a team now so that I can step back and just be the developer pretty much of the whole entire system. We created systems basically that's going to run itself, and we're changing many spaces at one time in the city of Milwaukee. Not just the city of Milwaukee, but the whole goal is to change all Black communities in the nation that are affected by social determinants of health.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. 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 And so your building,
Mm-hmm.
I looked at pictures before you purchased it.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage all of the listeners, those are who are curious to know who is Tonda Thompson? What is this Valor Creative Collective all about? Tonda, what's the address to your building?
128 East Burleigh Street. Um,
That's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Very, very, very nice turnaround on that building.
I
Very
mean,
nice.
it was a vacant corner store for 20 years. 311 Foods. It was a staple for many millennials like me. Like we grew up, that was our penny candy in the neighborhood.
Yep.
And I grew up in the Bircher Field neighborhood. I grew up in the Arlington Heights neighborhood. I grew up in the Harambe neighborhood. So those three neighborhoods pretty much surround that area, off of that highway over there, Highway 43. So that's my hood. My family house is a block away from the building I own. That's my father's family house, and my mother's family house is 10 blocks away. So, um, you know, for me to put a building that's 4 years ago when I bought, literally, okay, it's 5 years now.
Okay.
It's crazy. The time is going fast. 5 years ago when I bought the building, the neighborhood was going downhill, but now, the work that we done on that corner, we literally illuminated the corner to where it shines bright at night. That building used to be a dark place for prostitution. It used to be, the kids used to hide upstairs, doing God knows what up there. It was a dark place with no electricity for 20 years. When you walk in the store, you see Alexis Patterson, find Alexis Patterson missing. It was like a remnants of that time when Alexis Patterson was, when she was missing, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So that was that time, and it was a capsule in time. So it was a building that nobody wanted.
Yep.
Everybody seen it. They was like, "Ew, this is disgusting." Even my son is like, he's like, "I don't want to be here." But now this is his favorite place. So we literally changed the block, and now
Okay.
the other houses on the block are starting to make the same improvements and the changes that we made on that corner.
Because it only takes one. A beautification project does not have to be strenuous. It always, and we're competitive people by nature, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I clean up my space, surely one of my neighbors gonna be like, wait a minute, she can't outdo us,
yeah, yeah.
you
One
know?
one of the neighbors like, man, you gonna make my property taxes high? And I'm like, no, like we not gonna do that. But but she ended up painting her whole siding, and her house is up to code now. Like it was up to code before, but she beautified it to make it, a certain standpoint. Now the next neighbor is like, Tonda, I need you to we built our porch this summer. You know what I'm saying? And it's the whole entire neighborhood is inspired. Like it's people have come to the door in tears, like you changed. Like literally a man came last week. I don't know where he came from. We was closing up, we opened the door and he was in tears, like you changed this whole corner. Like he was like, I just wanted to see you in person. And I'm like, and I really, to be honest, I did what God told me to do. And I can't leave Alderwoman Cogs out because she highlighted the space. It was like, Tonda, I was like, man, I need the space. And she was like, look into this building. Don't nobody want it, but it might be something that you might want, Right. And she put the lead out there, but when I got there, God was like, hey, you got to do this. So yes. I've literally been given everything needed to see this project out.
Absolutely.